Yeah.
Paint Night Podcast is about getting to know the artist behind the painting. Our mission is to provide a platform where artists come together to create art
Sweet.
and share
And then
their
after
stories.
that's done, then you
Thank
can
you for
unmute
joining us
us.
and supporting the arts.
All right, we are live.
Hello, hello. Hopefully this is working okay. This is our first time doing the Skype stuff. But welcome to Paint Night.
Yeah, welcome to Paint Night. It's a pain in the ass already.
It's real. That's our new slogan. It's just a pain in our ass.
Pain in our ass.
Now that's the topic of the day. And the lame tit.
Lame tit?
Yeah. I don't know why I find that so funny.
What, lame tits?
Yeah, lame tit. Like just the one tit. Not like all tits, but the one.
Yeah.
Shit. So, I have the light strapped onto my head. And I'm trying to figure out what color I'm going to start with. Okay. So, I think... Move my phone up a little bit so I can see. Let's see. I'm going to start off...
JD? Yeah, so where are you?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I am in my sister's playroom at the moment.
I meant what part of the country?
Oh, I am in Texas.
Yeah.
The Tejas. The big ol' where everything's bigger. Literally. My mom was asking me, she's like, was everything bigger over there? I'm like, nah, it looked like there was a lot of smaller homes that were closer together in Ohio. And in Texas, it's like we have big spaces for a lot of things. But it's been good. I've been having fun. I saw my sister in her quinceañera. She looked so cute. Everyone was dressed really nicely. It was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah. But it's weird because it feels like I never even left. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Like when you got back home, you felt like... I felt like everything was a dream for a second, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with my brain?
What do you mean?
Because, like, I don't know why, but I felt like my whole trip to begin with felt like it was just like a fantasy. Or like, not a fantasy, but like a dream that I just woke up from, and I felt like I never really left home, but I still feel different. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe to someone. But it's nice. It's interesting. I went to church for the first time in 5 years.
How was that?
It was interesting. Everyone was pretty welcoming, although so I already told you this, but I grew up Mormon. And I went back to my Mormon church, and usually on the first Sundays, they leave it open for open testimony so people could come up and talk about God and stuff and like what they've learned or how they're thankful or grateful for the church and stuff. So I thought it would be cool because I never have gone up before to go up and talk about how I've learned about prayer and prayer and just kind of following your instincts, like that still, because we believe in like the God, Father, and Holy Spirit, and that's the still small voice was always like a theme growing up, like always listened to it. And I never understood it until I started like traveling in a weird way. Like I never understood it until I started like acting on things that I want to do and becoming more closer to who I am. And it's just that little voice that's like, you need to go to this thing or you need to do this thing kind of deal.
Intuition.
Yeah. And I think that's what they're talking about, to be honest. Like, I kind of believe that everything it's all kind of the same, but it's just different words of saying, like different ways of saying it. So I was just talking about that because that's what I believe in right now, and it's like really strong in me right now. And so I went up and I talked about it, and I talked about how there's a book that my friend gave me that was talking about, it's called Love Thyself by Masaru Emoto. He's a Japanese scientist that discovered that crystals form when you pray to water, and if you say really good, positive things, it forms beautiful crystals. But when you say negative, really ill-intentioned things, like you're ugly or you're worthless, it would actually not form anything. So I found that to be really interesting, and I remember that's when I started thinking, oh, maybe there's something to this prayer thing that people keep doing. And I was like, it makes sense because like Indians would always be grateful to their food, and I also discovered about the rice experiment, how you would have 3 jars of rice, one with good intentions poured into it, one with bad intentions poured into it, and then one you just left alone to see like the median, like the, what is it called?
One will rot faster than the other and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I found it fascinating, and so I was talking about that and how I had a dream about a mountain, and that I felt like it was my call to go, and that if I was accepted, I needed to do everything I needed to do. Like, I needed to do everything I could to go. And so I was talking about that, and I talked about how I've been having a lot of, like, guides, like, intuition, like, beacons that have been leading me on this journey, and that I was really grateful because I've also been praying and meditating and like trying to listen a little bit more within myself, and I've been discovering a lot of cool things, and I was really grateful. And it was cool. Like I got a really positive response from everybody except one lady. Like after one other person came up right after me, and then there was another lady that came up, and she was basically all like, what'd she say? She's all like, I'm glad. She even called me out. She's like, I love you. Or she didn't even say I love you. She's like, I'm glad you're back home, Sister Campos. And then she straight up was like, I feel like you're really lost. And if you believe in the gospel and pay your tithing and go to church and stuff, you'll find your happiness and all this other stuff. And my sisters and I, we all looked at each other and we were like, what in the hell? Like, what are you talking about? Because I didn't think I said anything that was wrong. Like, I thought it was, like, really clear points. And I was talking about how I, like, found faith again in my own way. And she was I don't remember what exactly she said. But even others were like, I don't know what she was talking about, that self-righteous person. But it was cool because a lot of people were really positive about it. And I had a good time. And it was interesting seeing all the familiar faces and how some of them haven't changed and how some of them have children and families and stuff, and it was just really interesting. And a lot of new people I never met, but that were like that were really, really responsive to what I said, and they appreciated the message I had to say. Most Mormons are really nice. There's just some that are just like, if you really want to find happiness, you got to do X, Y, Z, when that's not really the point, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily only a Mormon thing. It's just a human thing.
Yeah, and I know we were talking about it earlier, and it's just like, I think I was just challenging her beliefs in her mind.
Well, maybe not challenging her beliefs, but that's just the way she found it, perhaps.
Yeah.
So that to her, it's the only way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget that not everybody learns or finds things the exact same way.
And not everybody has the same path. We're all meant to experience our different paths and figure out our own shit. And yeah, like that was the only thing that really happened. And other than that, everyone was really positive and really nice, and it was really cool seeing everybody.
Cool.
A lot of people were fascinated with my tattoos. A lot of the kids were like, I love your tattoos. And I was like, I'm a bad example here. But it's good. Everyone's really cool. It was really nice. Everyone was like, you're so pretty. I'm so happy for you.
But
So, it was not bad. I mean, it wasn't bad at all, really. It was just interesting. And it's funny because my mom, she was taking me home from the airport, and I forget how bad Houston was, but because when I drove to the airport from Columbus, it was like 20 minutes or so. You know, it was snowing. It was kind of bad. It could have been like 12, but it was 20 just because of the snow and stuff. So I was like, all right, cool. In Houston, it took us like 2 hours just to get back home.
Yeah.
From like across the way.
Well,
so
what's across the way? How many miles is across the way?
Houston's pretty large. It's like Phoenix, but much bigger.
That's not giving me any.
I know. I can't. I'm not good with mileage. I don't know how many miles it was, but I like in my comparison, like it takes a minute. Like it takes 20 minutes to get anywhere in Phoenix, right? Like almost. Like a little bit across the way. Well, no, Houston's way bigger. So I don't know. I can't give you a really scale estimate, but Houston's pretty large.
Yeah.
Like in my neighborhood, it takes 20 minutes just to get to school, and it's like right around the corner. Like it's ridiculous.
Is it easier to walk or faster to walk than to drive?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. So I guess it's not really around the corner,
yeah.
But like my middle school and high school, it is like you could definitely walk to my middle school or high school, or middle school and elementary rather. But my high school's a little ways away. It takes a minute. But traffic's usually bad. That's the thing. That's the killer.
Yeah.
That's what turns most people off.
Yeah. I think the people would turn me off.
Well, you ain't wrong on that one either. But I mean, I love Houston. It's cool. Everyone's been nice to me so far. As an adult, as a child, everyone gave me a hard time.
Still a child. Shit.
What'd you say?
I said you're still a child.
No, I'm joking. I am growing up. Thank you, sir.
I mean, comparatively. From my point of view.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
I guess.
We'll have this conversation in 20 years. I'll be like, yeah.
I guess you're right. I know. I'll get there eventually.
Oh, yeah.
And then you'll be like this immortal person by then that's walked on water.
I'll be dead by then.
You'll be dead by then. No, you won't.
With any luck.
With any luck, you derp. I swear to God. To Jesus. I shouldn't swear to Jesus. Baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus.
But it's been swell. It's been nice.
Good.
It's good seeing everyone. Everyone's so grown up. My sister's like all older and such. Like I always see them getting a little bit more mature each time I see them. It's really strange. Like I know life and time goes on when you leave.
Mm-hmm.
It's just always very surreal until like you come back to it, you know?
No, I get it.
If that makes sense.
I've been there a time or two.
But yeah, and I got like all my cousins are all grown up and their personalities have formed. Because you know how as a kid it's like, well, some of them have personalities, but like most kids have, like when they're under their parents and such, they don't really have their own style or anything. I know I was one of those. But to see like all my cousins and everyone have their own things going on, it's very...
Grow into their own.
Yeah. Like you could see the personalities emerge even more.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
What are you working on over there?
I am working on strength.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I'm gonna try to do some color outlines, play with some color pencils and stuff. Make her super golden with like a gladiator's helmet.
Nice.
And a lion head she's holding. I was debating whether to make her helmet like a lion helmet, but I really like this picture of this lady holding a lion's head so much that I thought it would be cool just to have both. But I also like the gladiator's helmet, you know? Like with the broom top kind of helmet.
More like a Trojan helmet.
Yeah. I guess that's what I mean.
Yeah, don't be stealing my shit.
I won't. I'm doing my own shit.
Yeah, I know. I got a slow start on my painting today.
Dude, it's looking great.
Yeah, it's getting there. I spent all day today working on bio-organic piece.
Oh, for that one competition or gallery thing?
Yeah, Ohio Bio Show.
Yeah.
Since I ordered, well, it's coming up, and I need to get my ass on top of it. Started working on that actually last night, and it spilled over till today. And then, but I'm really excited about the frame because I already have ideas of what the frame's going to be, and I bought supplies for it.
The eyeballs?
Teeth.
Oh, teeth. That's right. Why did I think eyeballs?
I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, I discovered this fun little site called Wish. All through YouTube, honestly. I was
the weird shit you could buy off Wish kind of deal.
Yeah, I was skulking around YouTube and found one of those like quick blurbs. I think it was slapped ham. And I was watching that, and it had the, I think, top 10 weird things you could buy on Wish. So, and they actually
naturally
teeth was part of it, and I was like, I must check out this Wish thing. This sounds pretty rad. So yeah, I went on there and bought like 1,000 porcelain teeth. And then I went and looked up, because now it's just a game to see what kind of crazy offensive things that I can find on Wish. So I was looking up dead babies and like different prosthetic sex organs and shit. There should be some interesting frames for paintings being made soon.
That'll be cool. When you get around to that, we should do like some clay takes or clay paint nights, because I always find it super relaxing and fun to do, and I haven't worked with it in a while. Be down to make like a charm or two.
Yep.
I'm excited to see those frames too. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it should be fun.
I think I fucked up.
How do you figure you fucked up?
I messed up her eyes.
Yeah, that's why God invented whiteout.
True, it's one of those things though. Like with pens and stuff, it's like I don't go back and erase, I just deal with the mistakes kind of deal. Does that make sense?
I mean, I understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but to understand your process, no.
Gotcha. No, that's fair.
The perfectionist in me does I guess it really depends on what project and what my end result is. You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing portrait work or something that I already envision a certain way, like I want it to get as close as possible to that. But if I'm just kind of messing around and letting things happen the way they need to happen, like some paintings I don't have like a specific end result, you know what I mean? So like I like to just let things happen. Usually that's in like the design process for me a lot. I just let things flow and then go from there. And then once the design is squared away, then I want my painting to resemble that as much as possible. So I get pretty technical and tedious with that.
That makes sense.
Like there's definitely room for, you know, that just work with it and let it go. But I mean, kind of like everything has a place and everything in its place, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I always, when I work with pens, I used to, funny enough, when I was starting to draw anime and like people, I couldn't get off of ruled paper because it had lines, so I can try to like measure it out. And what was the other one? And I couldn't draw without pencil because I always erased, and I always erase so much that I destroy the paper by the time I'm done with the drawing.
Yeah.
So I started to challenge myself with pens. I would take the pen and I would try to deal with the mistakes, but also try to freeform and look a little bit more carefully. So it was like a challenge to myself. And of course, the first 1,000 turned out horrible, but like then things started appearing really nicely. But it's usually like a hit or miss, of course, because it's hard to keep going when it looks like shit.
Yeah,
so I usually give up. And
No, I get that. That's usually where I'll bulldoze something.
Oh yeah. And what is it? I have several sketchbooks of me starting stuff and then never finishing it. So I've been trying to be a little bit better about it and like continue on, because sometimes I can really save it and I'm really surprised by the end. It's just really frustrating seeing it when I mess up and I'm like, God damn it, I have to start it over again, blah blah blah. But it's like I'll do everything right and it'll be like right in the middle of the drawing it'd be fucked up, and I'm like, all right, I got two options, whether I continue or not continue. Yeah. But sometimes when I do choose to continue, though, it turns out like way better than I thought it would be. But it's just so exhausting though, because I already feel like I failed this drawing and I don't know how to continue on. But the times I do persevere, I do see that it ends up turning out okay.
Nice.
But it's hard, yo.
Do you adopt my yo?
Yo. I don't know how I'm gonna do this Spartan helmet. Like gray? Should it be gray and then yellow? No, gray and then brown.
You could do it gold.
I was thinking that, but her hair is already pretty gold. So should I just make it gold as well?
Do it gray. That way you could do, like, if you're doing like golden hair, I would contrast that with like bluish gray, because it's going to be a warm tone, so you're going to want like a cooler tone up against it. It'll be more contrast.
Genius, Toby. That's good. Okay. So I think I'm going to do, because there's the top part of the helmet, and then there's the part that comes around, like, that wraps around her face. And I'll probably do this part of the helmet a light gray. And then come in with a light bluish silver to frame around her face. And then just do a lot of cross-hatching.
Can you see the back of her helmet?
Huh?
Can you see the back of her helmet? You might want that to come down just a little bit.
The back here?
Is that the back of your helmet?
Yeah, so it comes down like this.
Yeah. Flare it towards the back just a little bit.
Like flare it this way?
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Because like, think about like if you would tilt your head back, like your head back to hit your shoulders. If you had a
it would cut you off.
Yep.
Okay.
So you'd want it to kind of flare out. That's why most helmets are done that way.
Okay.
So you can hide your neck.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
So like that?
Useless information. Yeah. Yep. Exactly like that.
Cool. Shit. Sorry, hair.
Yeah, just use it as your reference piece.
True that. Or edit it out on Photoshop. Either one.
Well, you can do that too. Equals being a tear.
She's being a what?
Terror?
Terror?
Yes.
Oh, what is she doing?
Just being a terror. Just completely going ape shit most nights.
Really? Like more than usual?
Yeah. Terrorizing Signy pretty good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're not doing it. Oh, sure.
I know, but she's my child and I'm responsible.
Well, then, I mean, you're a horrible mother then.
I know. I've known.
No, she's outside right now fucking going crazy. I'm gonna have to let her in here in about a second.
Has she been instigating on Signy?
Yeah.
She's like, Mom's not here right now.
Yep. She's running around like, you're not my dad.
Oh, man. So, my family's divorced and all. And, or my parents are. And I remember I used to listen to my sisters say that to, like, all the new guys Mom would bring home. They're like, you're not my dad. Like, all that argument, that typical argument stuff.
Right, yeah.
It just makes me laugh now. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's fine. That's pretty funny. I mean,
it is.
It's not, but it is, you know.
Yeah, like, it's not funny because it's not me in this situation.
Right.
Or, like, it's funny because I'm not the one in it, but...
Yeah. No, I get it.
It's crazy. It's just crazy. Yeah, it was really fun. I was watching, so, at the quinceañera, my father was, dancing with... So, I have a younger sister named Nala, who was just born about 2 years ago, with, on my mom's side, it's my mom's baby that she had with this, guy named AJ, and this is the playroom I'm in right now. Oh, whoops. I ruined the lady's nose on the other page. Oh, wow. But I was watching my dad dance with little Nala, and it was the most adorable thing ever.
That's cool.
And yeah, it was really cool. It was really interesting seeing like all the families come together and put this event together. There wasn't any drama, thank God. No novella shit that usually happens. But what was it?
Is there usually drama shit that happens?
Sometimes. Like when the Campos's don't drink, but when the Gonzalez's drink, sometimes it gets pretty novella-like.
I'm not saying shit.
I was gonna say, you're not surprised, are you?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you say will be held against you.
It's usually
and
how
recorded.
That works. Once on the internet, always on the internet.
It's on the interwebs.
Yeah. The interwebs.
How? Let's see. Where is this thing? Hello. See, now I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to continue on with this one or if I should start a new one.
I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good starter. Like, work out all your ideas on that, and then you can build off of it later.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make like a really nice pen drawing on this though already, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you work out all your ideas on that one,
and then do another one.
Yep. Then you'll have a really nice, pen drawing, because you'll have already worked out all the necessary kinks. Yep. Flubs.
Suppose you're right. I guess the wizard has a point.
On the top of my head.
Huh?
On the top of my head.
Touché, sir, touché.
Watched a documentary today on Salvador Dali.
Oh yeah? What'd you learn?
What I learned?
Yeah, what's something cool you learned?
I don't know if I learned anything new. It's just it's just interesting how much he traveled. He kind of came up from his parents were fairly well off.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty interesting. Like one of his people that he admired, I guess, idols, or I hate that word, idol, but
people he looked up to.
Yeah, the person he looked up to was Sigmund Freud, and he actually got to meet him, which was interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah, it totally makes sense that somebody that is into all the things he was into. I mean, visual arts wise.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be into kind of like figuring out the psyche and diving into that aspect of humanity.
Naturally. Yeah, I guess it's the attraction deal.
Yeah.
If you could meet an artist, which one would you meet? Like, from any point in time.
I mean, I don't know, time? I mean, I'm a huge fan of Leonardo da Vinci. Like, I love da Vinci. Just because he was, to me, like, he was into actual learning. And I mean, in his day, like, the church ruled everything, you know. So and he was so, like, into the sciences and figuring it out. Like, he was doing some basically covert shit. Like, he was digging up, like, fresh bodies and then cutting them open and drawing and mapping out what was inside, you know, the human body and how it worked. He was science-based. His mind was always working. I really like that.
That is really cool.
He's such an interesting character. Like he lived in the day of the Inquisition, you know, so he could have, for most of the shit that he was doing, I mean, even just the using of mirrors and things to do his portraits or to work on people, like, could have been considered witchcraft or heresy. So, I mean, there were many times he had close calls with, you know, the church and basically being hung or burnt or imprisoned. Plus, he was homosexual, which definitely was looked down upon in the church, you know.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. People were killed for way less than that.
I actually didn't know he was a homosexual until now.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as I know, it's still fairly speculative, but I mean...
Fair enough.
There's enough kind of winks and nods, kind of, you know, in stories.
To kind of, like, give the insight that was a high possibility kind of deal.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually like Michelangelo. I've always, like, I remember seeing his stuff when I was very little in Italy and being like, what the hell? Like, the Statue of David's this big? How could someone do this thing? And then all the paintings and stuff in the Sistine Chapel, I remember just looking up and being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, how did people do this back then? Like, I don't understand. I think that blew my mind. I was like, how could people create such things?
I get that. It's pretty funny. Leonardo and Michelangelo were rivals.
Were they?
Yeah, they hated each other.
That's hilarious.
They were always bidding for the same jobs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, naturally. So I could see that. That's funny. Do you think artists have to be that way? Like, they always have, like, I know they don't always have to be rivals, but, like, what is your mindset when it comes to that a little bit? Like, do you think it's necessary to kind of have that kind of rivalry between people that you work with?
No, I mean, for me, no. At least I'm not that way.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a sports person. I'm not, you know, a rival person. I could give two shits less. The only person that, you know, in my opinion, you should be trying to better is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like be better than what you were the next day. Like never compare yourself to someone else because you're not them.
Mm-hmm. And especially when it comes to art, it's like people get all defensive or not defensive. How do I want to word it?
Like sensitive?
Yeah, like really sensitive about their work and such, that they they think a lot of other people is like way below them.
Oh. Yeah. It's more conceited.
Yeah. I guess that's in all fields.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, that's more of a personality or personal defect, I guess. Personality defect. Insecurity, maybe.
Do you think they recognize that as insecurity?
I don't know. I think
it's like we're not that kind of people. We wouldn't know.
I think a lot of times, you know, in that situation, if somebody is like that, I mean, it's an aspect of the ego. So, you know, the ego's not going to allow them to see that part. You know, see that they're in the wrong, because that's not what the ego does. The ego's like, no, you did that first, or you did that better, or they're not as good as you. You know what I mean? It's to kind of protect you. So like, you'll justify anything, or not you, but you know, in that situation, like a lot of people will just, you know, justify what they do as they're in the right. I guess I don't know. All depends on situations and people, and everybody's a little bit different.
True. How would you define ego? I never really thought about that till now.
Ego?
Yeah.
Like, what is the ego?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a simple question.
I know, that's why I was thinking about it when you were talking a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I even have a clear definition of what the ego is. Like, I understand it's...
The ego is kind of, it's part of the... kind of like the external. It's like your avatar. It's the voice in your head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
When you change your character, or however you say that, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the ego. Your ego is what sees you, as your avatar, as your human form, and kind of tries to combine that with your actions and whatever, your look and where you went to school and who your family is, and this is what I do because this is who I am. That's all kind of part of the ego, but I mean, it goes deeper than just that. Do you think the
goal is to like more like we all have our egos to begin with? Like it's not something that goes away, but we can have a better understanding of it to change the ego.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was reading.
No, you're fine. I was saying, like, do you think, so if that's the case, like, the ego is just who we are to begin with, like, that's who we identify with. But do you think, like, if we the goal then is to just better understand the ego in order to change it? And it's just not something that goes away. It's just more of something you integrate with yourself along with like everything else you do.
Hang on, before I answer that, I love hookers in green too, so I'm gonna try to do that. My friend Gehrlich was talking about he was painting green hookers. No, it totally makes sense. I love green and I love hookers, so I mean, why not? So
Oh, really now?
what?
Nothing.
I love everybody. I don't care what their profession is.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I think the ego, it's necessary to a certain degree, but I think it's good to kill it off. You know what I mean? And it's just like enlightenment. It's never really dead and finally dead. Like, it'll start to grow again.
Like the dragon that keeps coming back.
Yeah, because like what the ego is there to do is to kind of protect you and to give you self-esteem and all that stuff, right? But again, it's balance, because somebody that has too much self-esteem or is a fucking, narcissist or megalomaniac, I mean, they're going to have great big egos, great big,
Yeah.
So that's not healthy. But to have no ego whatsoever would just be like you're lower than low. It'd be like a completely depressive state where it's like, I'm not good enough. Right?
Yeah.
So that's not good either. So you have to have like a healthy balance of ego to a degree. But it's kind of like when I think of ego death, and Chet Zar, obviously he did a whole art, holy shit, brain fart,
Fart
a
of the brain.
whole series called Ego Death. You know what I mean?
Who did?
Chet Zar.
Chazar. Okay.
Yeah, one of my very favorite painters. An awesome dude. But
I'll have to look it up.
I think that it's like a rebirth or killing off of the old in order to move forward and grow. You know what I mean? Because I think we all have those moments in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, you definitely have gone through those. I definitely have. You move away from home, you go do things that you don't expect that you'd ever get to do, or anything like that. You are no longer the same person that you were when you were 20 years old or just out of high school. You've evolved, you've changed. But like that, when doing that, there's a certain amount of like killing off the old avatar, the old person that you were, in order to go through and be open enough to experience new.
I could see that. I know, so I've been obsessed with this one channel on YouTube. It's called Tales of Old. Have you ever heard of that? I think you'll really like it. They have some videos of the archetype and the different archetypes, like from this one book, the magician, lover, king, and warrior, and how we switch in between archetypes and the positives and negatives. But I got on it because of that, but I found this one video recently. And so what Tales of Old does, they take movie clips and they explain the archetypes or certain, like, so one of them was called Facing the Dragon. And the movie it talked about was the first Spider-Man's. The one with, what's his face? Toby Maguire, not Maguire. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Did I say that right? Yeah, so it kind of explained a little bit of what you're talking about how Peter becomes Spider-Man. And so he at first is like identifying himself as Peter, but also he started beginning to identify himself as Spider-Man. And it talks about specifically the third movie, about how he does these things throughout the first and second movie. So he becomes Spider-Man, he becomes more identified with Spider-Man, but then he goes over the top where he completely identifies himself as Spider-Man, and that's where he had that whole emo weird look of, and being kind of just a dick throughout the whole movie.
Right.
And it was kind of so he lost his self as Peter, and then because of that, because he, like, I guess lost the sense of his ego in a sense, that he he was self-righteous and he was annoying, and the people that was doing the video was explaining that this kind of person was not just that Venom doesn't it doesn't make him like that. It feeds off of what was already there.
Exactly.
And that the chemicals that was affecting him and making him that way wasn't just that. It just exemplified it even more. Like, it made it even larger.
You mean amplified?
Amplified.
Yeah.
Exemplified. What does that mean? Anyway, but like so and I found it really interesting because I used to thought I hate that movie, but this guy explained it really well, because he's all like, you could even see it in the first movie when he was like, the bully was like fighting him and he was just discovering his powers, and he like what was it, like, he became more confident in it, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was like good for him at that time to like become a little more like strong and like more self-confident, but over time it like fed his ego so much that it consumed him, and he lost the part of him that was human. And basically, in overall, just it was like, because I was really confused, because I was listening to this and I was like, but isn't it good to gain confidence, and isn't it good to like become
like, it's good to have self-confidence, but there's a fine line between self-confidence and being egotistical.
Yeah, and it was just kind of explaining that, and but it's just, so it was explaining that, and then it was also saying like the way to really solve it is just to have humility, like to understand that you are going to need help, and that you're not going to be able to face a lot of things on your own, but that you're also human, and that you need to recognize that from time to time. And the guy who's, and I'm butchering this, I'm sure, I recommend anyone who's like, I really want you to watch it too, because it's a really good excerpt. But I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, damn, I don't know, because he kept using the word gratuitous, and that
means over the top.
Yeah. So because like a lot of people were feeding into it on the third one, it's like he was ignoring Mary Jane, and then he also betrayed his friend and all this other thing. So it was just really interesting.
Nice.
How, and it was explaining that the Spider-Man series actually did it really, really well, because it showed your hero rising and then falling because of it. And not many stories like that touch on that, because it's really hard to kind of see that from people you look up to and heroes you look up to.
Right.
And I guess that's why most people found that one kind of annoying and like weird. But it's true. It's like everyone's human, and everyone's gonna have that. Like, no matter how well you are at something, like there's always the danger of that.
Sure. Yeah.
With that, like before you even know it. Like, you're going to be doing something and it's going to feel so natural, and before you know it, it's like, why is everyone leaving me? Or why is everything not going according to plan?
Yep. I've always had a huge like respect or whatever for people that make it to the top and still are, whether they're, you know, movie stars or rock stars or whatever, but that they hold on to a sense of themselves, like that they're just a normal human being. Because I would hear every once in a while, you know, like, oh, that guy, he's such a fucking dick and this and that and blah blah blah, and it's like, dude, can you imagine how easy it would be to fall into that? Because like, you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are just telling you what they think you want to hear, and they're just like sucking up to you and telling you, like, you know, basically the yes men, where they're just like, oh yeah, you're so good, you fuck them, dude, like, you're a millionaire now. You don't have to get, and you have that everywhere you go all the time. It's hard to connect with a lot of people. A lot of people won't want to connect with you because they assume that you're like a crazy egomaniac or too good for them at that time. It's got to be really, really a hard balancing act. Like a hard wire to walk.
For sure. I can, yeah. I can't imagine. I can't remember where I was seeing it from, but it was like when you become top like that, you need like really, really good friends and people around you who are going to tell you exactly how it is.
Yeah.
And that is really important. I know in my personal experience, like,
it's easy to lose touch with the world.
Because I'm sure you understand this too. Like, my family is always like, oh, you're so good at art and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I appreciate the sentiment, but I need you to tell me what's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, I understand you're trying not to hurt my feelings, but I'm giving you full permission to like tell me what looks wrong to you. But it's like not a lot of people will.
Sure.
And
yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm always like relieved when someone can tell me some really great constructive criticism. Like it's weird, and sometimes like I don't mind it being harsh because I don't take things too personally. Like, I know people have a reason to say why they say things, so I usually try not to take it personally. Or at least I say I do, and I don't know. I mean, everyone gets naturally upset every now and then. Like, I will defend every now and then.
It's easy
because that's natural.
Yeah. Well, and it also depends on the person and how it's said and what your mood is at the time. Like, there's a bunch of variables.
I always think there's always a better way to say it, Well, and it's tricky because like sometimes I don't mind the straight up truth. Like, how do I explain? I don't know, because that's tricky. Words are tricky.
Well, emotions are even trickier.
That's true, because like sometimes people can say things, but the way you feel is not exactly what they said, and so.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if it's like, this sucks, but this is why I think it sucks, I'm fine with that. But if it's like,
well, that's
this just straight up sucks, then that's it. And I'm like, well, I need you to tell me why it does, not just say it doesn't,
Yeah.
And then it also depends on who it's from.
Yeah.
Because if the person isn't like making good stuff themselves, it's like, am I really going to trust your opinion on that? Really? Like, And
see, there's a part of the ego right there.
But it's just,
you're already going,
no,
well,
you're right.
Well, what are you making? Everybody's got their style, and it's like, I know we have talked about it before, like, modern art or impressionism or anything like that. I totally respect them for what they do. It's not my thing, but I wouldn't, again, to go along with you, I wouldn't ask somebody that was, doing some kind of like sculpture work, to
judge your painting.
To judge my painting, yeah, because it's a different world. Like,
right.
If we were friends and I'd be like, hey man, like, what do you think of this stuff? Like, whether they liked it or not, like, I would just take it and be like, oh, that's cool. Well, all right.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's fair. It is a different perspective, so I see where you're coming from. I guess it's just taking... So then I guess it's just really up to the artist to begin with. Like, the artist is either going to take it or leave it. And I know my art teacher used to say that a lot now that I think about it. That, like take what people say and see if it makes sense to you, but don't... And my teacher was... my sculpture teacher, Roger, he's like... I am an artist and I have my own perspective. And he's like, but I'm not always going to be right. Like, if I tell you to do something, you can choose whether to do it or not. But you don't always have to go by what I say. Go by, like, what you think you need to do. Yeah. I'm just here to advise you what I think.
But
I could be wrong. Teacher. And I was like, you're right.
No, that's awesome. And he's honest. Like, not a lot of people would see it that way, because usually when think about it, like they go to school to be, or, to learn art or art history, so they kind of go through the whole rigmarole of being a teacher and finding out about all this art, and they do their own thing, and then our hour is up, and then
already, holy shit, crazy, but go on.
But then they go through all this to be a teacher, and at some point they're like, well, I went to school for this, I know what I'm talking about.
There is a lot of those too. That was a lot of the graphic design department. I felt like they're like, no, but this is the way it needs to be done, and I was like, hell no. But actually, now that I think about it, I really liked Roger. That teacher was actually really good, because like he said that, and I was like, damn, that really makes sense, and that's exactly what I need personally, because I'm always kind of disobeying the rules, and I'm always doing my own thing anyway. So he let me do a lot of my own things anyway, or a lot of my own things to begin with, and he always called me out on my shit too. He was all like, you're not working long enough on this. And I was like, you're right. Like, he's like, you need to be in here more. You need to do XYZ more. And he's like, it looks good. It's a good start though. And I know you could put more time into it. And I'm like, you're right.
Right. But not everybody is so open to that as well. You know what I mean? Like, because again, you get defensive where it's like, well, no, I'm doing all I can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I've definitely seen some people react that way, but I've always been like, what, Roger's actually good. But that's always the preference of the teaching style, I suppose. Like, I really like the way he taught me personally, and I just really like the way he thought with art when it came to art. And so, strange things, man. But I guess I could see that, and I guess that's how I should take criticism now that I think about it. I haven't thought about that in a long time. But I guess that's probably the better way to do it. It's just up to you, really, whether you take the criticism or not.
I mean, people
and I guess
can
it's
tell
like,
me I could, I suck, and like that's cool. I take everything with kind of like a grain of salt, like as far as,
because like what looks good to them could look like brilliant or like look awful to another.
Yeah, exactly. It's all preference.
Like there's something for everybody, and everybody has their own experiences and own ways of seeing everything, I suppose.
Yeah, I just try not to take anything personally, whether they like it or don't. I usually go, well, I got some more to do. And, I hear people all the time, they're like, but it looks fucking perfect. You should just stop now. And it's like, well, I'm glad you like it, but to me, I know when it's done.
Much more to do.
And that's just my personal preference.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, no ego in it or anything, but it's like, okay, well, I'm painting it, so I'm going to keep going until it's done for me. I do love feedback. I love when people are like, oh man, I don't know if that color's right, or do you think it's off center? You know what I mean? Like I love talking back and forth with other people, but I mean, constructive criticism, I would love to be. There's a few artists that I can do it with, but most of the time it's a real touch and go kind of situation, because a lot of people take their art super serious, which they should, but they take it personal. So
like it's an attack on them rather than like your art. This is how I see your art in my perspective.
Yeah. There's one guy, Cyrus Fire, an amazing artist. I love him to death. We used to have like once a week or at least once a month we would get together before I moved out of the state, and he would come over to the house and we would just sit there and we'd paint, we'd talk shit, and towards the end, it was more about like talk about cartoons and different, crazy storylines and ideas and but
Yeah.
He could like send me a picture of something and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And I had no qualms just like going, "Oh, that's rad, but like, why are the scales going this way?" Or why don't you try like bringing this color out because it really plays off of this? Or fuck, dude, like cut that whole bottom part off and start over. And he was like super fucking rad, where he was just like, "Oh, right on. Well, do you think this?" And we would go back and forth. And he would do the same thing for me. I'd be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" He'd be like, "Fuck that thing. Like, that's a mess." But he would be like, "But this is why. Like, this is why I say that." And I went, "Oh, okay, cool." And no hurt butts in the room at all. Like, it was super cool.
No butts were hurt in the making.
Yeah, like it was understood that we were constantly trying to make each other better. You know what I mean? Like, it was all out of love.
For sure. I had well, should we end it there, or do you want to continue on for a little bit?
Well, that's up to you.
I say let's continue on until we get tired of this specific topic, because I really like what we're talking about right now.
What, butt hurts?
Being butt hurt? No, but
speaking of butt hurt,
did you hurt your butt?
No, I didn't hurt my butt. I seen a T-shirt, and this is stupid to put on the podcast, but I was on Facebook the other day, and I seen this shirt that made me laugh out loud for real.
What was it?
It was like one of those UFO shirts with like the person going up in the tractor beam or whatever, and underneath it said, "Get in, loser, we're doing butt stuff." And I started laughing. I was like, I fucking need this shirt in my life.
Dude, yes you do.
I just like the term shirt. Butt stuff. Like that cracks me the fuck up.
For sure. Oh, butt stuff.
Fucking butt
I dig
stuff.
it. You should definitely get it. What was I talking about? Oh, criticism.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
Back onto serious shit.
I mean, that's a very serious matter over there. But
Hey.
Damn, what was I gonna touch on? I can't even remember now. I don't know, dude. Constructive criticism is very hard. I know some people, it's like some people really cannot take it.
Yeah.
And I've never really understood it, but I've also met people who give constructive criticism, but also get really hurt when people don't follow it. Or like you give criticism.
Okay. Like, no, I get that.
I've had a friend or two that were artists and stuff, and they would tell me something, and it's like, oh, that idea is okay, but I'm gonna do my own thing, and they would kind of get a little bit. They would take that kind of personally, and that's like another weird thing that I've noticed too. Is like the criticizers like, why don't you trust me? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm doing my own thing. Like, this is mine,
Right. Okay, so this is how I'm gonna start my my talk to that. Did you ask them, or did they just offer it freely? The advice.
They offered it freely.
Okay. Well. Yeah, if somebody offers advice or whatever freely, I usually, thank them for their advice and then move on to whatever I was going to do. Now, I can understand somebody, because
if you ask for their advice,
like,
and don't
if
even
somebody
take it?
if somebody would come to me and go, "Hey, man, what do you think I should do?" and say X, Y, and Z, and I would give them my honest opinion or whatever. And if they went ahead and did, something or continued on the same path or whatever, then I would just be like, I don't necessarily think I would be mad, but I probably wouldn't offer any advice ever again. It'd
Yeah,
be like,
that's
like if you're
understandable.
gonna ask me for advice, then not do it. That's kind of fucked up.
Mm-hmm. No, that
Or
would
at
make
least,
sense.
or at least, you know, if you ask me for advice, because I've done that. Now thinking about it, I've done that a time or two, but it will get my brain going.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, even if they don't take it, it's like, okay, well, now I heard a different perspective. Now it's like what I was talking about with my teacher. It's up to the person to take it up or not.
Staring me down pretty hard.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all weird. We're all figuring it out.
Well, yeah, of course. I think Gehrlich's got an eagle problem at his house. Said an eagle
Who?
staring him down at his
Eagle?
house.
Like
Yeah.
eagle, like the bird?
Yeah.
No way.
It's like, I think it wants to hunt me.
Wants to feed you to its children.
Yeah, don't trust an eagle. Eagles.
Will they
always
attack
lie.
humans?
I don't know. Poke it with a stick. I'm pretty sure it will attack humans.
It'll do something, all right.
Yeah. Eagles have taken. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure eagles have attempted to take. They've taken small dogs.
No way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that they've actually like tried to snatch up little babies left in the yard and shit to go, like little kids playing in the
Yeah.
yard. Like if they're hungry enough, yeah, they'll try and pick them up.
Damn. That's intense, yo.
Hey, man. Just like a little monkey baby sitting in the yard.
A
like,
monkey baby?
well, I mean, that's what humans are. Somewhat
Well, yeah,
primate.
that's true.
I mean,
We're
you
just primates.
see a little monkey in a yard. Hey, if you're hungry, whatever.
Let's see.
I mean,
think-
primates aren't that far off from like squirrels and shit. So
Squirrels?
I mean, kind of like a lemur. A lemur is kind of like a lemur is a primate, and lemurs are kind of look like squirrels. So
True.
squirrels kind of could be little human babies, I guess. I don't know. A bit of a stretch, but fuck it, whatever.
It makes sense. It's fine.
Oh, Gehrlich says the chick that I'm painting wants him. Yeah, I can see that.
The chick you're painting wants what?
Wants Gehrlich.
Yeah.
She wants to have his babies
Totally.
so they can feed him.
See it in her eyes.
Yeah,
It's just screaming it.
the non-pupil eyes.
Yep.
She wants to have your babies. So
She's looking right at
so-
you. You can't tell, but she is.
she can feed them to the eagles.
Well, my love. What?
Oh no. You done?
Yeah. I don't know what else to talk about. If you have anything else, I'm down. But if we have our hour up, I'm down to end it on that note.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to Paint Night Podcast, even though we're a little bit late.
Yes. Thank you for your patience. I'm glad we were able to figure out the Skype thing. We'll be doing it probably throughout this whole month. Since we'll be separated a little bit.
Forever.
But- No! Don't say that. Breaking my heart.
yeah.
But thank you everyone for joining us on this wonderful podcast. I'm ready to get this blown off my head. I think that's a good place. I like where this is kind of coming. I might just finish it just to see how the colors and everything turn out.
Yeah, it looks good.
Can you see it a little bit?
Yeah. Your lion looks like a squirrel.
God damn it.
It does. Look at the eye. The eye
No,
is
I know. It does look like a squirrel. I said, God damn it, in agreement.
Oh, okay. Now I see the teeth. See, I was just seeing it from like just above
so
the
its
nose.
tongue is
And I'm
out
just
here. I just colored in the mane a little bit.
like, no. Now, if I just see the ear and the eye, yeah, it's totally a fucking squirrel.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it in the screen with it. Damn it. References, man. That's probably what it is.
References help. But
I
no,
know.
it's looking
My
good.
phone's
I'm
stuck
excited
my
to see
head,
where it goes.
And my iPad's playing the Skype, but
Yeah, I feel you.
but yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. Guess we'll end on that note. Follow us on
Paint Night Podcast, Instagram.
Yes.
Like and subscribe to the YouTube's Paint Night Podcast.
And subscribe to us. We have our own personal channels as well. Or Instagrams that is shown on the screen in front of you. But yeah. I think that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah. So,
thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Enjoy. Keep painting. Take what we said and throw it away.
Don't take it personally.
Yeah, don't take it
throw
personally.
It away. Don't get butthurt about what we say. Is the lesson of the day.
You said butt hurt.
All the butt hurts.
Yeah. But anyhow, yep. So thanks for joining, and we will talk to you Wednesday.
Woo!
Woo.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hurry up.
Yes.
Ouch. Okay, I'm gonna take this phone off my head because it was hitting my nose.